Hello, friends. Well, I think the Republican Party has finally done themselves in. And if there's anyone who still thinks they haven't, they'll say, oh, there's a few good ones. Well, a few good ones does not equal a good party and does not equal a good future, especially since they are currently trying to expel the good ones from Congress and from the party. So I think we can safely say that the Democrats and Republicans have officially merged. And there are a lot of people who have said that we only have one party. I didn't used to believe that, but in light of what is going on, I definitely can accept that. And let's go over a few reasons why that is becoming obvious. See, now the Republicans are supposed to stand for conservative principles on the right, and it's on paper, and on paper it looks nice. But what have they been doing all these years? I mean, rhinos are Democrats who wanted to get elected on a Republican ticket because they knew Republican voters were passionate, patriotic, and naive. And they would vote for them because they said, R, Republican, R is for Republican. And they weren't counting on them paying attention to the issues. Now, this is how stupid the political class think the American people are. And unfortunately, they have gotten away with this assumption for many years. And when it comes to voting in any election, they do not tell you anything about the candidates running. Year after year, I would go to the polls and I would be faced with a list of names that I had never heard of before. And at that point, it would just be a matter of playing eeny, meeny, miny, and mo. So do we really have a functioning government? At this point, I would say no. We have, like I said, an oligarchy who just hands us a handful of names that we have never heard of. They do not make hardly any effort to communicate anything about these candidates. This country has just gone beyond. Everybody has handed their power off to these political parties, and these political parties have abused it and profited off it, and it has got to stop. And it is hard to change the entire system quickly, but for one, we can stop these crooked Republicans and these closet rhino Democrats from profiting off the system anymore. We've got to start someplace, and we start by cleaning house. We're going to clean house with these Republicans. So, I mean, there are some people who are still naive enough to think that the Republicans are going to come back from this one. How naive can you get? That's one of the problems with Americans. They're so naive. They've got to stop it because that is why they're losing their freedoms. Naivete has got to go. I mean, it's been, and the majority of the Republican Party, we believe, were the Trump supporters, the passionate Trump supporters. And the Republican Party is doing everything they can to erase him from their memory. And as Dr. Steve Turley was saying the other day, if the Republicans are going to cater to the 5 or 15% that are never Trumpers, their party is finished. They just need to merge with the Democrats already and forget about it. Because that's all they are, and they're trying to stay separate from the Democrats in order to give the illusion of some kind of two-party system. And I know there's lots of people who think the two-party system has to go, and for very good reasons. Many other countries have multiple parties. That's one way of doing it. I said, whatever happens, there has to be mass support, because, after all, none of us are in this country by ourselves, and we have to compromise and get along with each other to some extent. So, but I think we can all agree that the Republican Party is finished. Now, like some people, like my dad, is like, oh, we have to still vote for the Republicans because they're our voice. If we don't vote for the Republicans, vote for a third party, then the Democrats will get in. I'm like, oh, yes, but the Republicans have proved themselves to be the bedfellows of the Democrats. So you're not doing yourself any favors. You're just being a fool by falling into their trap and believing that you're voting yourself out of something. And look at it. The Republicans recently have held the reins of power. Very recently. And what have they done with it? Let's pause here. What have the Republicans that were in the Senate and the Congress done with the power when they had the majority? You're right. Nothing. So, after their big, huge display of anti-Trumpism, there's no reason to expect that they will deviate from the left-wing path anytime soon. So, apparently, it is exposed that we only have one party. I said, can we always put it down to cowardice or collusion? The fact that they are bought off, intimidated, whatnot, or they just have no willpower. It's not just cowardice. I think it's just the desire to go along with the political class, and the dominant ones are the left because they are the loudest. The power vacuum is filled by the strongest, and that has been the left. And like I said, unfortunately, the nice people are still, fighting fair, while the left is hitting them on the head with a 2x4 and punching him in the stomach with a stick, and, the conservatives have still been trying to fight fair. But I don't know about that. Fair fighting, the Marquis of Queensberry rules, only works when you have two sides who are honest and willing to fight fair. At this point, I would say we do not. Now, the other day, Dinesh D'Souza on his new podcast was saying that why do the Republicans put up with a double standard? Keep saying, oh, yep, we're bad, but then keep letting the Democrats get away with everything. He said, oh, they're the law and order party. They're so dedicated to law and order that they can't, stand letting themselves be against law and order. And so that's why they keep on, I guess, self-flagellating and letting the Democrats get away with everything. But the bottom line is, think about this a minute. Are the Republicans really a law and order party? Would a law and order party stand by while the Democrats burn towns all summer? Would they stand by while these murders? Would the law and order party stand by? I don't think so. They're not a law and order party. They're just a part of the swamp. So I think the Republicans have lost faith with the public for the last time in a spectacular way. And the best thing we can do is just cut them off and start a new party. I mean, definitely there are multiple options floating around. Everybody is still, I think, rather in shock over the events that have been going on, how the left is going mad. If the Republicans were really the law and order party, they would be going after the left every time they disobey the law. And the left has been disobeying the law and the Constitution constantly for the last 10 to 20 years. And the Republicans seem to care nothing about it. So it's obvious that the Republicans are a part of the Democratic Party, an arm that just gives a nice facade to the public. And we will not stand for a betrayal party. And these Republicans are a bunch of fakers, and they just say the words they think the American people want to hear, while they just laugh all the way to the bank. But their day of reckoning has come, and nobody is believing them or voting for them anymore. All right, that's all for now. Let freedom ring.